Good evening. Am I audible? Good evening. Am I audible? Good evening, dear viewers. In today's topic, we are going to see some major points regarding history of agriculture. So, when we talk about the history of agriculture, the first thing that we have to think about is regarding the origin of agriculture. So, before we move on to this origin of agriculture, we can just have a look about the age of earth and age of the first organism that appeared on earth. So it is believed that the earth was formed around 4.6 billion years ago, and the first form of life, that is the first unicellular organism, bacteria, it was appeared around 3.5 billion years ago. And our ancestors, Homo erectus, is believed to have formed in our earth around 1.5 million years ago. And modern humans, that is the human beings with this intelligence and the brain power, as like us, that is our ancestors, that is modern humans, Homo sapiens sapiens, they originated around 40,000 years ago in our earth. So now we are moving on to the origin of agriculture, or when agriculture first started in the earth. So modern human beings, where it is believed that the modern human beings evolved around 40,000 years ago. Only 40,000 years ago, only human beings like us originated in this earth. So, agriculture is believed to have originated during the towards the end of Stone Age. That is, the Stone Age. We know that there are various ages of evolution. During the evolution, there are various ages like Stone Ages. That is, it is classified based on the type of tools humans were using at that time. Okay, so there was a Stone Age, then there was Bronze Age, and with the discovery of iron, the Iron Age, and later on the Industrial Revolution started. So agriculture is believed to have originated towards the end of Middle Stone Age or Mesolithic age. So the Stone Age is classified into three, that is Paleolithic age, Mesolithic age, and Neolithic age. So Paleolithic age is believed to be from 250,000 BC to 10,000 BC. At that time, human beings mainly survived on hunting and gathering. So here, humans or our ancestors, they hunted on animals and they gathered edible food from the forest, and they used various crude stone tools as their weapons. Then during Mesolithic age, somewhat improved stone implements were developed, and such stone implements were termed as microliths. And it is believed that the first animal, that is dog, was domesticated during the middle Stone Age, that is during the Mesolithic age. And farming is believed to have started towards the end of this Mesolithic age, that is somewhere around 8,000 BC. So we can say that agriculture originated during 8,000 to 7,500 BC. So during the period from 8,000 to 7,500 BC, agriculture started in the world. So Neolithic age is otherwise known as Neolithic Revolution, or the development of agriculture during this Neolithic age is termed as Neolithic Revolution, because agriculture in fact was a revolution. So agriculture helped the humans to stop this hunting gathering nature, and it helped the humans to settle at one place, and this settling later on led to the development of various civilizations, and further on to development of various societies. So the development of agriculture during the Neolithic age is otherwise termed as Neolithic Revolution, and this particular term Neolithic Revolution, it is coined by the anthropologist and archaeologist Gordon Schild. And Neolithic Revolution is thought to have taken place between 7500 BC to 6500 BC. Then coming to the term Fertile Crescent. So it is believed that agriculture originated in the regions around Southwest Asia, or Southwest Asia is otherwise termed as Fertile Crescent. So it is the place where agriculture first originated. And this agriculture helped primitive communities to settle down in various places, and this finally led to the formation of societies, and later on to the development of various civilizations, as we know about the Harappan civilization, Mohenjo-daro civilization, Mesopotamian civilization, etc. Then the major point in the history of agriculture is regarding the hearts of plant domestication, or the centers of origin. So these are places where the plants were first domesticated. We know that our cultivated crop plants are evolved from various wild species. So through various selection procedures, trial and error, man domesticated the crop plants, and the places where these crop plants were first domesticated were known as centers of origin. So this herds of plant domestication, or centers of origin, is first given by the scientist Nikolai Ivanovich Vavilov. So Vavilov has put forth the centers of origins. Later on, various other scientists have also provided various theories regarding the center of origin. So the first theories regarding the center of origin was put forth by Vavilov, Nikolai Ivanovich Vavilov, and he has proposed 8 herds of plant domestication, or 8 centers of origin. So these are regions where diversity of the crop plants exist, or it could be seen. So centers of origin can be classified into 2, that is primary center and secondary center. So primary center, these are the places where the crops were first domesticated, or the crop plants evolved from places where the crop plants evolved from wild species. Whereas secondary centers are some other regions other than the primary centers where this crop plant shows maximum diversity. So, but they may not be the place where the first place where that particular crop was first domesticated. Okay. For example, when we take about the case of sorghum, sorghum is a millet. So sorghum, the primary center of origin of sorghum is Africa. Whereas when we see the sorghum in India, we can see that diverse types of sorghum plants or diverse species exist in India also. So India is regarded as the secondary center of origin for sorghum, but it was first domesticated in Africa. So, Africa is regarded as the primary center of origin of sorghum. That is the difference between primary and secondary center. Primary center is the original place of domestication of a particular crop, whereas secondary centers are places other than the primary center where maximum diversity of a particular crop can be seen. So, as per Vavilov, there are 8 centers of origin, or 8 hearts of plant domestication. They are the Southwest Asian Center, the Central Asian Center, the Southeast Asian Center, the Chinese Center, the Mediterranean Center, African Center, South American Center, and Mesoamerican Center. So, the crops which are highlighted are more important. When we talk about the Southwest Asia, it is believed that the crops, especially cereals like wheat and barley, originated in Southwest Asia. Other crops are rye, oats, apple, grapes, etc. But usually questions are asked regarding the centers of origin of wheat. So the center of origin of wheat is Southwest Asia. And it was also first domesticated in Central Asian Center. So Central Asia is also regarded as a center of origin of wheat. Then the Southeast Asian Center is again subdivided into Indian Center and Indo-Malayan Center. So we can see that rice was first domesticated in Southeast Asia, which comprises India also. So the center of origin of rice can be regarded as India. Then, so rice, chickpea, then pulses like green gram, black gram, then pigeon pea, then mango, eggplant or brinjal, jute. All these were first domesticated in India. Then another center, that is Southeast Asian center, is again subdivided into Indo-Malayan center, where banana, breadfruit, mangosteen were first domesticated. Then Chinese center in China, millets, soybean, onion, lychee, they were domesticated. Then in Mediterranean regions, again wheat was domesticated there also. That is simultaneously at different places people started cultivating a particular crop. That's why wheat occurs here and also in the Mediterranean region or Mediterranean center. But beetroots, olive, pepper, turnip, mustard, rapeseed, all these are believed to be originated in the Mediterranean center. Then African center. African center is again subdivided into East African center and West African center. So rice is, that is African rice, or Oryza glaberrima, that is African rice. African rice is believed to have first domesticated in the West African center. So African rice is listed in the West African center, whereas in East Africa, sorghum, pearl millet, finger millet, cowpea, okra, sesame, and Arabica coffee. So coffee, the center of origin or the area where the coffee was first domesticated is Africa. So the Arabica coffee, it was first domesticated in East African center, whereas the Robusta coffee, it is the center of origin of Robusta coffee is believed to be the West African region. Then South America. South American center is again classified into three sub-regions: Peru, Ecuador, Bolivia center, Chile center, and Brazil, Paraguay center. So all these crops, that is the crops that are common that are of our common use today, like pumpkin, tomato, chilies, tobacco, potato, cassava, peanut, rubber, pineapple, cashew, cocoa. All these crops are not indigenous to us. All these are from the South American region. Then maize, pumpkins, all these are not indigenous to our region, that is India, but all these have come from American region. So sweet potato, pumpkin, tomato, chilies, guava, papaya, tobacco, and sea island cotton were first domesticated in the Peru, Ecuador, Bolivia center. At least you have to know these crops are of South American origin. And potato, the center of origin is believed to be Chile. Whereas cassava, then groundnut or peanut, rubber, pineapple, cashew, all these came from the Brazil, Paraguay region. Then Mesoamerica, otherwise known as South Mexico and Central America, their maize originated. So the center of origin of maize is a common question. It is Mesoamerican region or Mexico and Central America. Then some few points regarding the diffusion of crops. So from the center of origin, how the crops move to other parts of the world. That is what is diffusion means. So when we talk about our case, that is India, an ancestor of wheat, that is club wheat. Club wheat means Triticum compactum. Cultivated wheat is Triticum aestivum. An ancestor of wheat, that is club wheat, Triticum compactum, was first grown in the hills of Baluchistan in the Indus Valley during 3500 BC. Then cotton was domesticated in 3000 BC, and rice was grown in India in 3500 BC. That is Oryza sativa. That is the cultivated Asian rice. This Oryza sativa is believed to have originated from two wild varieties of rice, that is Oryza perennis and Oryza spontanea. So Oryza, cultivated rice Oryza sativa is a cross between two wild rice species, Oryza perennis and Oryza spontanea. Then one important term is the Columbian exchange. That is, after the discovery of America by Christopher Columbus, a major interchange of the crops have occurred between the old world and the new world. New world means the South America and North America, and old world means the other continents other than the Americas. So after the discovery of Americas, after the discovery of various sea routes between Asia, Africa, Europe to this Americas, various crops grown in these particular regions were migrated or were taken to the other parts of the world, and this particular migration or exchange of crops as well as animals between the western and the eastern hemispheres, or the changes brought about by the encounter between the old and new world after the expeditions of Christopher Columbus. That is known as the Columbian exchange or Columbian interchange. So after the discovery of America, there was a widespread transfer of plants, animals, cultures, human populations, technologies, diseases, etc. During the 15th as well as the 16th centuries. So these are some of the examples of the crops that were introduced from the New World to the Old World. That is from the Americas to Asia, Africa, and Europe. So these are the major crops. That is American cotton, Gossypium hirsutum, avocado, cocoa, cashew, cassava, chili, groundnut, guava, maize, papaya, then rubber plant, sunflower, tobacco, tomato. So at least you have to know about this particular box. The crops that are originated in the Americas. Okay, so these are not our indigenous crops. These have come to our place from the Americas. Cotton, avocado, cocoa, cashew, cassava, chili, groundnut, guava, maize, papaya, rubber, sunflower, tobacco, and tomato. Then the crops introduced from the old world to the new world. So from our regions, that is from Asia, Africa, and from Europe, many crops moved to the Americas. So sugarcane was mainly cultivated in Africa before. And once the sea roots were all discovered, sugarcane was taken to the Americas. Then cereals other than maize, that is wheat, rice, barley, then millets, sorghum, millets, all were taken to Americas. Then legumes, soybean, chickpea, then red gram, green gram, black gram, etc. Fruits like banana, peaches, pears, oranges, melons, citrus fruits. Then vegetables like onions, radish, salad greens, yams, peas, leek, and parsley. These were all taken to Americas from the old world. Then to another point, that is agricultural systems of the world. So before moving on to agricultural system, there are two terms, that is intensive agriculture and extensive agriculture. So what is the difference between intensive and extensive agriculture? So intensive agriculture means intensive cultivation in a particular piece of land. So we are using large amount of labor and capital on a particular piece of land to increase its productivity. That is intensive agriculture. That is, we are focusing on each and every unit of land, and we are providing maximum inputs to that particular unit of land with a view to get maximum production per unit area. Whereas in extensive agriculture, the crop is raised in large areas and individual plant to plant attention is not given in extensive agriculture. Generally, we can say that field crops, the crops that are dealt in agronomy, they are cultivated in extensive agriculture, whereas horticultural crops, that is vegetables and fruit, they are mainly cultivated as intensive agriculture. That is the major difference. But there are exceptions. But generally, we can say that field crops are generally grown in an extensive system, whereas in the horticultural crops like fruits, vegetables, they are grown in an intensive system. So, before the development of various agricultural systems, what existed was hunting and gathering. So after hunting and gatherings, from domestication of crops, various agricultural systems developed in the world, and in many areas they still prevails. So first one is shifting cultivation. That is the most primitive form of agriculture. That is shifting cultivation. It is otherwise known as slash and burn cultivation. A part of the forest will be cleared and the man cultivates in that particular area continuously. And once fertility of that particular land is lost, then they will abandon the land and they will move to a new area and they will continue the same, clear the land and grow crops. There won't be any application of manures, fertilizers, etc. Once the natural fertility of the soil is lost, they won't get any yield from that. Then they will abandon the land and move to a new place. So that is slash and burn cultivation. It is otherwise known as some other local terms are also there to describe this shifting cultivation: ladang or jum or punam cultivation, asartate system, etc. And Sweden is the term that is used to denote the land that is cleared using this slash and burn process and which is ready for cultivation. Okay, and there are 5 stages of land intensification under shifting cultivation. We cannot say that it is under shifting cultivation. That is, from the primitive form of agriculture, there were 5 stages of land intensification. First one is forest fallow. That is, a fallow period of around 20 to 25 years will be given between crops. In order to regain the natural fertility of the soil, the land will be kept fallow for about 20 to 25 years, and at that time a small forest might develop in that particular area. So that is forest fallow. Then bush fallow, the fallow period become lesser, that is 6 to 10 years of fallow will be given between the crops. Then short fallow, in short fallow the fallow period is still less, that is 1 to 2 years will be given as a period of fallow between the crop period. Then annual cropping, that is the crop will be taken year after year without a year gap of fallow. The crop will be taken every year. And multiple cropping means in the same year itself multiple crops will be taken in the same field season after season. That is multiple cropping. Or in the same season itself maybe 2 or more crops can be taken. That is multiple cropping. So these are the 5 stages of land intensification, and the most intense form of cultivation we can say it is multiple cropping. Then another system, that is plantation agriculture. So what is a plantation? Plantation is a large agricultural holding or an estate that is devoted to specialized production of tropical cash crops, usually in monoculture, worked by resident labor. So there are various terms used to describe a plantation. It will be a large agricultural holding or estate. There will be a specialized production of cash crop. Crop will be usually remunerative one. Any crop cannot be termed as a plantation crop. Usually cash crops are grown in plantations, and it is usually monoculture. That is the same crop or the same species of a particular crop will be grown in the same place year after year. That is monoculture, and usually the workers will be residing in or around near to the plantations. That is resident labor. So the crops are mainly grown with an intention of getting remuneration, and mostly the crops are intended for export. So the major plantation crops are sugar cane, banana, rubber, tea, coffee, spices, etc. And the person who owns or operates a plantation is known as a planter. Planter is a person who owns or operates a plantation. So there are 3 types of plantations, that is colonial plantation, commercial plantation, and neo-plantation. Colonial plantations existed during the colonial rule. Okay. So usually the workers will be slaves from Africa, and the owners will be the foreigners, especially the Europeans. And once slavery was abolished, this type of plantation ceased to exist. And the major plantation crops or major crops grown in colonial plantation. Sugarcane was the major crop that was grown in such plantations. Then tea, coffee, spices, etc. Then commercial plantation that we are seeing now. The owners are multinational corporations or cooperatives or local government, and the workers will be usually residing near to the plantations. Then there will be various laws enacted to safeguard the interest. And these are the major plantation crops: tea, coffee, rubber, cocoa, coconut, arecanut, oil palm, palmyra, and cashew. Then if the work of these laborers or workers is replaced by machines, then that type of plantation is known as neo plantations. Then another type of agriculture or agricultural system is Mediterranean agriculture. So Mediterranean climate means the climate which is characterized by mild, wet winters and hot, dry summers. That is Mediterranean agriculture. So there the agriculture system or cultivation is intensive, highly specialized, and the crops are usually sown in autumn and harvested during the early summer period. So, the major examples for Mediterranean type of agriculture are citrus fruits, olives, figs, etc. And dates. Dates is it is a crop that is sown that is particularly grown in semi-arid regions in North Africa and scattered regions in Southwest Europe. Then viticulture or grape cultivation is another peculiarity of Mediterranean agriculture. So the major crops that are grown in Mediterranean agriculture are citrus fruits, olives, figs, then dates, then grape cultivation or viticulture. Then homestead agriculture. Homestead agriculture is the peculiarity of Kerala, or it is a type of agriculture that is practiced where the size of the land holding is small. And homestead agriculture is a result of fragmentation of agricultural holdings. So fragmentation of agricultural holdings led to homestead agriculture, and the main characteristic of homestead agriculture is it is a high intensity multi-tier mixed farming system. High intensity multi-tier mixed farming system. So we can say that it is an integration of shrubs, trees, spice crops, pastures, food crops and livestock in a small area of land, that is zero point 0.1 hectares or 25 cents. We can say that the average area of a homestead agricultural system is 25 cents or 0.1 hectares. So there are different types of crops or different types of plants like shrubs, trees, then grasses and livestock will coexist in a small piece of land. So there will be border, and the border will be planted with shrubs and trees, and also usually they will be fodder trees. Then strip of grasses will also be there. Then inside the border there will be the house, livestock shed, fodder shed, food crops, forage plants, etc. So it will be very high in productivity because different types of crops are grown in a intensively or grown crowded in a very small area. So the productivity of the system will be very high. So this is a type of agriculture system that is widely prevalent in Kerala. Then another agriculture system, that is truck farming or truck garden or market garden. So this is a type of system that is intended for sale or market. The motive is market. So the farmers, this type of agriculture system is usually practiced near the urban areas, and the farm will be devoted for production of fruits, vegetables or other crops for sale, and the farmers use trucks for the transport of the products, and that is why it is known as truck farming or truck garden. Then coming to peasant farming. So the term peasant, that what is meant by a peasant, or who is the peasant? Peasant is a farmer who owns and cultivates a small piece of land using his own family's labor. That is peasant farming, and this type of farmers are usually marginal farmers of poor countries, or peasants are usually marginal farmers of poor countries. So peasant cultivates a small piece of land, and he won't be using any hired labor, but he will be using the labor of his own family. Such a person is known as a peasant, or we can say that marginal farmer. Then another type of agricultural system is large scale grain farming. Large scale grain farming, it is an extensive system of cultivation. The units of operation or the area of cultivation will be very large, that is more than 150 hectares. So wheat is a major crop that is grown under large scale grain farming. Then other than wheat, then corn, soybean are all grown. And this large scale grain farming can be classified into two groups, that is suitcase farming and sidewalk farming. So in suitcase farming, the farmers will not be living near to the land. They occasionally visit the land during major operations like sowing or harvest, etc. That is suitcase farming. Whereas sidewalk farming will be, the farmers will be living, or the owners of the land will be living near in the nearby towns, and they frequently come and go. They frequently monitor their fields. That is the two different types of large scale grain farming. It is not practiced here in India, but it is practiced in countries like USA, Canada, Australia, Argentina, and Russia, where they are having thousands of hectares of land together, agricultural land together. Then recessional farming. Recessional farming, it is a type of farming that take place on floodplains. That is, once the water recedes, after a flood, once the flood water recedes, a particular area will be selected, area will be cleared, and then crop will be raised in that particular region. Usually it will be in the river banks. The major crop that is grown, mainly the crops like cereal crops or millet like sorghum is grown there. But type of recessional farming is practiced in Kuttanad in Kerala. That is, Kuttanad is a region that is below the mean sea level, and once that heavy rainy season is over, water is uh, let out of the field by dewatering, by using specialized pumps, and rice cultivation is undertaken in that region. So Kuttanad farming or rice farming in Kuttanad is a type of recessional farming. The farmers also uses a system known as petti and para for dewatering. Then another agricultural system is livestock ranching. What is ranching? Commercial raising of livestock on a large holding is known as ranching. The livestock will be allowed to graze on a large holding, that is known as ranching, or such holdings are known as ranches. Then another type is commercial livestock fattening. Here, the livestock will not be allowed to graze on ranches. Rather, they will be put in cages or put in various sheds. They are known as feedlot. So in commercial livestock fattening, feedlot system will be used. That is, raising and fattening of cattle, pigs, etc., mainly for slaughter purpose on feedlot. And what is a feedlot? Feedlot is a factory-like farm for livestock fattening or dairying. It can be either for slaughter purpose or for dairying, and the movement of the animals will be very limited in a commercial livestock fattening system. Then some aspects regarding the birth of modern agriculture. So some major points regarding Pietro de Crescenzi. Pietro de Crescenzi is regarded as the father of modern agronomy. So he has written a book that is Opus Ruralium Commodorum. So this particular book, that is Opus Ruralium Commodorum, is written by Pietro de Crescenzi, and this book contains a collection of agricultural practices that were followed from the time of Homer. And Pietro de Crescenzi, he is regarded as the father of modern agronomy. Then some aspects regarding Van Helmont, Jean-Baptiste Van Helmont. That is, he laid the foundation for the scientific agriculture, or some experiments in agriculture were done by scientist Jean-Baptiste Van Helmont. He had some experiments in the plant that is willow shoot. Then regarding Jethro Tull is regarded as the father of tillage and also the father of wheat science. So Jethro Tull developed a drill and also a horse-drawn cultivator, and he has written a book known as the Horse Hoeing Husbandry. and he has written many details regarding tillage and all, and hence he is regarded as the father of tillage. He coined the term wheat, and he is also regarded as the father of wheat science. Then another scientist, that is Arthur Young. Arthur Young published Annals of Agriculture in 46 volumes. Then coming to the scientist Justus von Liebig. Liebig has postulated the law of minimum. So Justus von Liebig, he is a German chemist. He destroyed the humus myth. That is, there was a myth that humus is the sole nutrient that is required by the plant. So this particular myth was destroyed by Liebig, and he postulated law of minimum. Law of minimum states that the element in shortest supply was the limiting factor in crop yield, and that all the elements removed with the crop must be replaced. That is, there are certain essential nutrients, and the growth of the plant will be determined by the most limiting element, or the element that is supplied in the least amount. The growth of the plant will be uh, determined by that particular element which is supplied in the least amount. That is in nutshell regarding the law of minimum. Then scientific experiment or method of field plot experiments, that is uh, growing crops in fields, and statistical analysis and all were developed. Such ideas or such methods were developed with the method, field plot method of experimentation by the scientist J.B. Bossingall. So J.B. Bossingall is regarded as the father of field plot techniques. Scientific research in agriculture was started after J.B. Bossingall with the various field plot methods of experiments laid by him, and this was further improved by Gilbert and Lewis by establishing the famous agricultural experiment station at Rothamsted in England. Then in 1859, the theory of evolution was put forth by Charles Darwin. Which stated that the origin of species by means of natural selection or the preservation of favored races in the struggle for life. He has published regarding the origin of species by means of natural selection or the preservation of favored races in the struggle for life in the theory of evolution. Then, when we see about the various developments in India, agriculture research in colonial India, a series of famines occurred during, before, as well as during the British period. So, when we talk about the British period, after the Great Famine of 1860, a Department of Revenue, Agriculture and Commerce was started in the year 1871. It was under the viceroyship of Lord Mayo. So, in 1871, a Department of Revenue, Agriculture and Commerce was started. Then an agriculture school in India was set up at Saidapet in 1868. Then there was a College of Science at Pune, and in that particular college, a branch for teaching agriculture was started, and later on it developed into a separate College of Agriculture. That is, in Pune, a separate College of Agriculture was established in the year 1907. Similarly, various agricultural colleges were established in all these places: Kanpur, Sabur, Nagpur, etc. Then there was another great famine during the period of 1876-77, and after that a famine commission was appointed in the year 1880. Then in 1891, Dr. J. Volcker recommended to create a post of agriculture chemist, and in 1892 this post was renamed as the Inspector General of Agriculture. Then this is regarding the developments in the world. That is, in 1890, the first form of tractors were used in the wheat farms of northwest US, and this tractor was a large four-wheeled machine driven by steam. And the first gasoline tractor was developed in the year 1892 by John Froelich. And in United States, land grant colleges were established in 1862, and these land grant colleges served as the blueprint for the development of agricultural education in India, or The development of state agricultural universities in India was based on the pattern of this land grant colleges in United States. Then coming to history of Indian agriculture, some aspects regarding agriculture heritage in India. So coming to the Aryan period, Aryans were regarded as the Bronze Age people, and they used iron plowshares for working out the soil. And in Rig Veda, 5 elements or Panchabhutas are mentioned. And it states that in Rig Veda, it states that these 5 elements must be in harmony. Then there is a mention of Parjanya. Parjanya is regarded as the god of rain in Rig Veda. Then when we talk about the Buddhist period, the Buddhist period is regarded as the period of arboriculture and forestry. So, which period is regarded as the period of arboriculture and forestry? It is the Buddhist period. Then during the Maurya period, Kautilya or Chanakya, he wrote the Arthashastra. And in this Arthashastra, there is a mention of this Siddhadhyaksha. Siddhadhyaksha is a post given to the superintendent of agriculture. The Siddhadhyaksha, there is a mention of this Siddhadhyaksha in the book Arthashastra written by Kautilya. Then during the Gupta period, Amar Kosha was written by Amar Simha. So there are various ancient literatures. In all these ancient literatures, various practices of agriculture during those particular periods were mentioned. So Harsha Charita, it is a biography of Harshavardhana, King Harshavardhana, written by Banabhatta. Then Kashyapiya Krishi Sukti, it is a treatise on agriculture written by Kashyapa Muni. Then Krishi Parashara, it is written by Parashara Maharshi. So there is a history of agriculture. This Krishi Parashara covers the history of agriculture from 6th to 11th century AD. Then in Vrikshayurveda is written by Surapala. It is a compilation of various ancient techniques and prescriptions practiced for various plants and trees. So just like Ayurveda for us to cure various ailments of human beings by using herbs. Similarly, in Vrikshayurveda, there are various techniques and prescriptions intended for plants as well as for trees. Then Krishi Gita. Krishi Gita, it mainly deals with the agricultural practices in South India, especially Kerala. Krishi Gita, it is a treatise on indigenous farming practices followed in the coastal areas of South India, especially Kerala, and it was written before 15th century. Then during the British rule, there were various land settlement systems or taxation systems like permanent settlement or semindari system, temporary settlement, Raitwari system, etc. So this permanent settlement or semindari system was during the period of Lord Cornwallis. And in Raitwari system, the land revenue was paid by the farmers directly to the rulers. So the individual cultivator or the individual farmers are termed as Ryat. Then there were various famines and scarcities during the period of British rule. And these are some famines. Bengal famine, there are various Bengal famines in different periods. Then Chalisa famine, Dojibara famine. And the last major famine is the Bengal famine of 1943. Then coming to IARI, that is Imperial Agriculture Research Institute. So IARI, that is Imperial Agriculture Research Institute. Now it is termed, after independence, it is renamed as the Indian Agricultural Research Institute. Together with a college for advanced agriculture training, it was established in the year 1905. So first it was established at Bihar, in Pusa in Bihar. And this institute mainly concentrated on research wheat, potato, milk, and various pests and diseases associated with these. So a massive earthquake hit Pusa in 1934, and eventually IARI was shifted to Delhi in 1936. So it is one of the premier National Institute for Agriculture Research, Education and Extension in India, and it is also a deemed university. So moving on to agricultural education in India. So the first agricultural university was established in the year 1960 at Rudrapur. So Rudrapur is now known as Pantnagar. So the first agricultural university was established in the year 1960 at Pantnagar, and it is the Uttar Pradesh Agricultural University, and in 1972 it was renamed as the Govind Ballabh GB Pant University of Agriculture and Technology. So the first agriculture university was established in the year 1960. And between 1960 and 1965, 7 more agricultural universities were established, including this Pantnagar, the university at Pantnagar. 7 agricultural universities were established between the period of 1960 and 1965. Then coming to our ICAR, that is Indian Council of Agriculture Research. This Indian Council of Agriculture Research was established based on the recommendation of Royal Commission on Agriculture, which was appointed in the year 1926. So they submitted their report in 1928. So based on the recommendations of the Royal Commission on Agriculture, the Imperial Council of Agriculture Research, because India was under colonial rule, so the Imperial Council of Agriculture Research was established on 16th July 1929. So 16th July every year is celebrated as ICAR Day or ICAR Foundation Day. So ICAR was established to promote, guide and coordinate agriculture research throughout India. And in 1966, that is after independence, ICAR was reorganized and it was made an entirely autonomous organization. And Dr. B.P. Pal was appointed as the first Director General of ICAR in 1965. Dr. B.P. Pal appointed as the first Director General of ICAR. Then NARS. What is NARS? NARS is National Agricultural Research System. So this National Agricultural Research System means ICAR at the national level and state agricultural universities at the state level. So NARS comprises of ICAR at the national level and state agricultural universities at the state level. And state agricultural universities will have a series of research institutes, colleges and all, through which agricultural education and research will be moving or will be continuing. So the president of ICAR is the Minister of Agriculture. Central Minister of Agriculture is the President of Agriculture. And there will be a Director General of Agriculture or the Chief Executive. He is also designated as the Secretary to Government of India for Department of Agriculture, Research and Education, that is DARE. Okay. So the Director General of Agriculture also will be the Secretary to Government of India for DARE, that is Department of Agriculture, Research and Education. And at present, there are 63 state agricultural universities, 4 deemed universities and 3 central agricultural universities operating under ICAR. 63 state agricultural universities, 4 deemed universities and 3 central agricultural universities. So these are the 4 deemed universities. Sometimes the abbreviations will be given and you will be asked to write about the expansion, that is ICAR. IARI, that is Indian Agriculture Research Institute, ICAR Indian Veterinary Research Institute, Central Institute of Fisheries Education, National Dairy Research Institute. You should also know about the location of these institutes, that is IARI is presently located at New Delhi, IVRI, Indian Veterinary Research Institute at Hisarnagar, Central Institute of Fisheries Education at Mumbai, National Dairy Research Institute at Karnal. So there are also various research institutes at the central level or national level. We have to familiarize with such central institutes, and also we have to know where they are located. For example, Central Arid Zone Research Institute, CASRI, that is located at Jodhpur, Rajasthan. Then CTCRI, Central Tuber Crops Research Institute, CTCRI, that is located at Srikaryam, Thiruvananthapuram. IISR, that is Indian Institute of Sugarcane Research is there, Indian Institute of Spices Research is there. So Indian Institute of Sugarcane Research, it is located at Uttar Pradesh, Lucknow, UP, and IISR, Indian Institute of Spices Research, it is located at Kozhikode. So we have to know about the various places where the national research institutes are located, or central research institutes are located. Then coming to the international research. So there are three major organizations. One is CGIAR, that is Consultative Group on International Agriculture Research. It was established in 1971. So CGIAR, it is a strategic partnership of 64 public and private members that support a network of 15 international agricultural research centers. So there are various international agriculture research center. One international agricultural research institute that operates in India is the ICRISAT, International Crop Research Center for Semi-Arid Tropics. So likewise, there are various international agriculture research centers. So CGIAR support a network of 15 international agriculture research centers, and it mainly aims for sustainable agricultural growth. Then CABI is Center for Agriculture and Biosciences International. CABI, Center for Agriculture and Biosciences International. It is an international non-profit intergovernment development and information organization established by the United Nations Treaty Level Agreement between 40 member countries. So, 40 member countries have signed an treaty, and based on this, this particular organization was established, and they provide information, and they provide scientific expertise to solve various problems related to agriculture as well as environment. Then FAO, that is an organization under the United Nations. FAO was established in the year 1945, and it is headquartered at Rome, Italy. So it is a lead agency for agriculture, forestry, fisheries, and rural development. So these are the areas where the FAO focuses: agriculture, forestry, fisheries, and rural development. It has got 192 member countries and one member organization, that is the European Community. So FAO works to alleviate poverty and hunger by promoting agriculture development, improving nutrition, and ensuring food security. Then some major points regarding a revolution in agriculture, that is known as Green Revolution. So the background is Thomas Robert Malthus. He is an English economist. He has postulated a population theory in 1798. So he proposed, or he said that the population growth is geometrical. In his theory, in his particular population theory, he said that population growth is geometrical, whereas food production can increase only in an arithmetic way. So this finally will lead to various famines, war, and calamity for food, or in order to satisfy hunger, there will be a series of war and calamities occurring for food. And this particular data, it shows the exponential growth of this human population. That is, population was around 100 crores in 1804, whereas it increased to 300 crores in 1960. And in just another 60 years, the population reached about 780 crores. So that this shows the exponential growth of the human population. Then another book or another article was written by the Paddock brothers, William Paddock and Paul Paddock. Then there is another article that is known as Population Bomb. All these articles by Paul Ehrlich, all these articles or theories, they threatened that the human population or half of the human population or millions of people will die because of hunger, because of shortage of food. But such thing never happened because we had this particular green revolution because of using high yielding varieties and also using fertilizers, chemical fertilizers, applying irrigation facilities, providing agronomic management of crops, using high yielding responsive varieties. We were able to tackle the problem, and so that phenomenal increase of food grain production, especially in the developing countries, that began in 1960s in many developing countries. This particular phenomena is known as Green Revolution. So the Green Revolution first started in Mexico in 1943. So it mainly started with the various research in CIMIT, that is International Maize and Wheat Improvement Center. It has got a Spanish acronym, Centro International de Mejoramiento de Maize y Trigo, that is CIMIT. This is the Spanish acronym, and this is the uh, English expansion, International Maize and Wheat Improvement Center. Various researches happened at CIMIT, Mexico, and it led to the Green Revolution. And Green Revolution first started in wheat. Okay, so various Norin strains of wheat, that is dwarf wheat varieties, they were known as Norin strains, were developed, and they helped in this improved production and also dwarfness. They were dwarf varieties with a high production potential. And a project was working at this CIMIT, and Dr. Norman E. Borlaug, he is a plant breeder. He headed the project at CIMIT. So a particular variety of wheat, that is Norin 10, was acquired from Japan by Borlaug, and he had done various experiments and research, and this Norin variety was used for various crossing, and various new dwarf wheat lines were developed and finally released in 1961. So these dwarf varieties with a high yield potential, they respond well to high doses of fertilizers and irrigation, and such dwarf varieties were instrumental in triggering Green Revolution. So the main variety that was behind this revolution was the particular strain that is known as Norin 10. So this is the graph regarding that. In 1944, Mexico imported half of its wheat requirement, whereas in 1956, it was self-sufficient in wheat production, whereas in 1964, it started exporting wheat to other countries. And similarly, various improvements or research followed in maize also. And during the year 1960s and 1970s, this research or the use of high yielding dwarf varieties, this has spread to other countries like India, Pakistan, and many other Asian countries. So in rice, various researches were established, were going on in the IRI, that is International Rice Research Institute, Philippines. So IRI was established in Philippines in 1960, and similar other research centers also. So just like Norin 10 in case of wheat, there is another dwarf variety in rice, that is DGO Wujen. DGO Wujen is a short, early maturing indica rice from the farmer's field in Taiwan. DGO Wujen, this led to the release of the miracle rice, that is IR8. IR8 is released in IRI in the year 1966, and the genes, the dwarf genes, high yielding dwarf genes, were mainly taken from this particular dwarf variety of rice, that is DG Wujen. So similar increase was later followed in other millet crops, then in tuber crop, pulses, oil seeds, etc. But the major yield improvement was seen mainly in rice and wheat. So this great increase in food grain production became a movement in many developing countries, and it later came to be known as a revolution, known as Green Revolution. And this particular term, Green Revolution, was first used by William Gott. William Gott, Director of United States Agency for International Development. So the term Green Revolution was first used by William Gott. Then some aspects regarding this Grow More Food campaign. Grow More Food campaign, uh, just before Green Revolution, we had some other campaigns or some other projects for boosting the food grain production, and one among, or the major one among that, is Grow More Food campaign. Grow More Food campaign was launched in various British colonies, that is during the Second World War. And in India, this particular campaign was started in the year 1943. First, it was born out as a wartime emergency in order to improve the food production. But even after independence, the government continued the project in order to improve food production and attain self-sufficiency. This particular campaign or program was continued up to 1951. Then some aspects regarding Green Revolution in India. So Bengal famine, or the last major famine during the British period, was the Bengal famine. And this Bengal famine was mainly due to brown leaf spot of rice, which is a fungal disease. So after independence, our first Prime Minister, Jawaharlal Nehru, he declared that everything else can wait, but not agriculture. And there were some shortfalls or shortcomings of Grow More Food campaign, and the government has appointed a particular committee known as Grow More Food Campaign Enquiry Committee, where there were various other programs like IADP and IAAP. That is, IADP is Intensive Agricultural District Program. IAAP is Intensive Agricultural Area Program. So the years are important. IADP, Intensive Agriculture District Program, started in the year 1961. IAAP started in 1964. So all these programs were started by the government to boost the food grain production, to help the country to attain self-sufficiency in agriculture, rather than to beg from other nations. So with the help of Norman Borlaug, various dwarf wheat varieties were brought to India. So some of the major varieties that were brought to India for screening were the Sonora 63, Sonora 64, Mayo 64, Lerma Rojo 64, and 613. And other 613 advanced generation breeding lines. So these are the major one: Sonora 63, Sonora 64, Mayo 64, Lerma Rojo 64, and other 613 advanced generation breeding lines were brought to India for various trials. And finally, our Central Variety Release Committee approved these two varieties, that is Lerma Rojo 64 and Sonora 64, for cultivation in India. So this has led to a dramatic improvement or increase in wheat production in India, and this was later on followed in rice also, with the introduction of the miracle rice, that is IR8, to India. So these three persons are regarded as the doyens of Green Revolution in India. They are C. Subramaniam, B.P. Pal, and M.S. Swaminathan. C. Subramaniam was the Union Minister of Agriculture at that time, and B.P. Pal was the Director General of Agriculture, and M.S. Swaminathan also worked in Indian Council of Agriculture and also ICAR at that time. So Dr. M.S. Swaminathan holded the post of Director General of Agriculture from 1972 to 1979. Then to the world, or the father of Green Revolution in the world, is Dr. Norman E. Borlaug, and in India, or the father of Green Revolution in India, is Dr. M.S. Swaminathan. There were many other improved cultivars also in India, that is PV18, Kalyan Sona, Sonalika, Choti Lerma, Safed Lerma, etc. So in rice, the same success was replicated by the import of the variety IRA, that is miracle rice. So in India, Green Revolution mainly happened during the period from 1967 to 1978. And Dr. Norman Borlaug, he earned the Nobel Peace Prize in the year 1970 for his amazing works for feeding the world, or for finding a solution to the problem of population explosion. So these are regarded as the basic elements of green revolution, not only high yielding varieties but other agronomic practices. Double cropping, that is increasing the number of times a particular crop can be taken in a year. Double cropping in existing farmlands, continued expansion of farming areas, and improved agronomic techniques like use of chemical fertilizers, especially nitrogen fertilizer, irrigation, mechanization, and the use of pesticides, herbicides, etc. These are all regarded as the basic elements of green revolution. Then there were various criticisms also to this green revolution, and the major criticism is related to the lifeboat ethics or bioregionalism. And this particular lifeboat ethics, it is put forth by uh, Garrett Hardin. So Hardin put forth the lifeboat ethics. So this is the final slide of this particular uh, topic, that is history of agriculture. This just informed, this slide is just included for some information. That is, agriculture seasons are there, and in Kerala, the agricultural seasons are mainly described based on the cultivation of rice. Okay, so the rice growing seasons in Kerala can be classified as Virippa season, Mundagan season, and Punja season. So these are the general, for general cultivation, there are three rice growing seasons in Kerala: Virippa, Mundagan, and Punja. And our festivals, major festivals of Kerala, that is Vishu and Onam, are also related to agricultural activities. That is, the festival Vishu, it is celebrated in order to mark the beginning of the Virippu crop, whereas the festival Onam is celebrated to mark the harvest of the Virippu crop. So just before sowing the crop, or with the sowing of the crop, we are celebrating the festival Vishu, whereas Onam, after the bumper harvest of that Virippu crop, we are celebrating the festival, that is Onam. So with that, I am winding up this particular topic on history of agriculture. Thank you.